Alright, so I've set myself the challenge of doing 5 peaks within 24 hours.
So I designed my own route in the Lake District, which would start off with the mighty Blencathra along the frightening sharp edge. And an early start the next morning would take me up to second on the list, Skiddaw, after a brutally steep climb. Then straight over to Honister Pass in the pouring rain to begin the challenging ascent up to the third peak, Great Gable. Peak 4 to 5 will be the highest peak in England, Scafell Pike, and hopefully completing the 24-hour challenge at Great End. But first, I'll explain the important reasons which inspired me to do this challenge.
And today is the 11th of May, and while that may not mean too much to you, unfortunately the 11th of May is the day 5 years ago when I lost my mum. I thought this challenge would be quite a nice way to reflect on the past 5 years for myself, but also the struggles that my mum went through. So with it being 5 years, I thought there would be no better way to commemorate than doing 5 peaks and having a bit of a challenge.
So, the 24 hours begin. It's 4:30 PM and I'm thrown straight into a steep ascent.
So I'm about a third of the way up the first peak, Blencathra. I'm starting to think this is going to be fucking tough, so...
Nerves are starting to kick in now that I can see the steep ridge, which is sharp edge. But before that, there's another steep climb up to the beautiful Scales Tarn. And now that I'm here, the fear from the last time I failed is starting to get to me. But I suppose all I can do is give it a try.
Alright, so we've just got to the start of sharp edge. Getting a little bit nervous now, but let's see if we can do it. Come on.
As you can tell, the winds were a little stronger than I'd hoped for, but thankfully the ridgeline didn't look quite as scary as I remember it from last time. I was so relieved when I realised I was nearly at the end.
Now almost at the top of Blencathra, first peak almost ticked off. This is going to be a tough challenge.
Then we have a final scramble up to safety at the top of Blencathra.
24-hour challenge, first peak done. Second peak Skiddaw just over there. That's tomorrow's challenge. Nice early start for Skiddaw tomorrow. Overcoming fear, good start to the challenge.
Straight into tomorrow, an early 5 AM start means not much sleep, and today would be the most ground I've ever covered in one day, 54,000 steps. The ascent of my second peak, Skiddaw, is about to begin, the 4th highest mountain in the Lake District, standing at a height of 930 metres, but this one I'm doing alone. And thankfully there were some beautiful early morning views over Keswick to make up for the very tough climb. Meanwhile, the top of Skiddaw looks pretty mysterious as I get nearer. The winds are picking up and the peak is covered in cloud.
God, I'm so thankful to be on a bit of flat right now. But we're down a little bit and then final stretch up and I'll be at the top of Skiddaw.
The clouds occasionally clear and reveal some nice views. And here, I'm almost at the summit and the winds are strong and incredibly cold. And there we go, that's peak 2 out of 5 done, and I decided to have 5 minutes at the top to take it all in. Anyway, I head back down, tired, worrying that I won't be able to finish the challenge, but we're straight back on the road, and then we arrive at the incredible Honister Pass, where from here, we'll go on to climb Great Gable, Scafell Pike and Great End.
Alright, so here we go, we're at Honister Pass. As you can see, the weather is absolutely beautiful. Next peak on the list is Great End.
As soon as we set off, the weather was miserable, which I knew was only going to make it tougher. My clothes were soaked through within almost 5 minutes, but I was still determined to complete the challenge with 6.5 hours remaining.
My boots aren't waterproof, so this off the path trail isn't going too well.
I may have had soaking wet boots, but at least the clouds cleared to reveal some beautiful views over Buttermere. And hidden behind these clouds somewhere is third peak on the list, Great Gable. But before that, we have to cross a point called Windy Gap, but the winds actually seem to have calmed as we pass through. And now it's time for the final stretch up to Great Gable, with a little bit of a scramble to finish.
Alright, there we go, Great Gable. That's 3 out of 5 done. The legs are starting to get tired now. It's proving to be pretty tough right now.
But I carry on, and from here a huge descent back down Great Gable with 2 more peaks to tick off within 4 hours. We got the 400 metre decline in altitude over with quickly, and the clouds opened up to offer some stunning views.
Alright, so just onto the climb up to Scafell Pike. This is where things get really challenging. Legs are really tired, feet are really sore. I feel like I've got nothing left in me, but for the sake of this challenge and the reason why I'm doing it, I'm just gonna keep kicking on and keep it up, keep pushing through. Hopefully we'll be there in no time.
Despite the tired legs, I keep pushing past this gully and the beautiful views of the valley behind me. Meanwhile, the distance of Great Gable, the third peak of the challenge, becomes further away in the distance as I become nearer to the fourth, Scafell Pike.
I'm seriously getting tired now, my legs have had enough.
This final climb up to Scafell Pike was definitely the hardest part of the challenge, but I kept pushing on, knowing that I was pressed for time. And there we go, the highest peak in England at 978 metres is almost within reach. Exhausted, I finally reached the top and the fourth peak of my challenge. I decided to quickly enjoy the stunning views while stood atop the highest point in England. But I only had an hour left to get to the fifth peak, but I ended up slipping on the way down and grazed my hand. Thankfully Tony had a first aid kit and could clean my hand up. Then we reluctantly carried on, even though the end was in sight. Great End is just over there. We really were getting close now, with about 25 minutes left of the 24 hours.
Alright, we're so close now. Nearly at the top of Great End. We've got about 25 minutes left, so I think we're going to do it.
And here are my final steps before reaching the very end of such a long day.
There we go, the final top at last is right there.
And this is how I felt after all that walking. I was so relieved that I'd finally completed the challenge with 15 minutes to spare. What made it even more special is I could see how far I'd come in the past 24 hours. Here's Blencathra, yesterday evening's peak, and then Skiddaw, which I'd done alone this morning. As I turn around here, you can see Great Gable, the third, and then we came all the way down to come all the way back up again. Along to the fourth highest peak, Scafell Pike, and now to here, the fifth and final point, Great End. And a big thanks to those lads there, Jeff and Tony. Without them, I couldn't have done it. It had been a great adventure, a long and tiring one, but equally rewarding on this special day.
But anyway, I'm pretty proud of myself to be able to achieve it and do the 5 peaks within 24 hours. Cutting it fine, mind, within 10 minutes or so. Been a bloody tough one, it's been hard, but I knew it was going to be. But anyway, just to reflect back on the purpose of this video, obviously I've done 5 peaks to commemorate my mum passing away 5 years ago. And also I thought it served as quite a nice metaphor for the journey of the past 5 years for myself. Obviously grieving, and then things being pretty difficult after that. But I also wanted this video to serve as a bit of inspiration for other people. And yeah, I was a bit nervous at first, a bit anxious about doing this challenge in case I couldn't do it, or how tough it was going to be. But I managed to face a big fear of heights and sharp edge. I bottled it the last time, I couldn't do it. So I'm really pleased that I was able to do sharp edge on Blencathra. And then waking up at 5 AM to do Skiddaw this morning, and then doing another 3 big peaks today with Tony and Jeff. And it's been tough and it's been a long journey for the day. But ultimately I think even though it's tough, you might surprise yourself as to what you can manage and what you can deal with, and things usually always turn out alright. So, but anyway, I really did hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you again another time. Click subscribe if you did enjoy it for more adventurous hiking videos like this. Take care, see you later, adios, goodbye.